Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums, and today I have another weekly check-in reading for the collective, and this will be for the week of Sunday, February 22nd through February 28th, I believe, Saturday, February 28th. Which I can't believe this is the last and final week of February 2026. And also, welcome to Pisces season. Hope everyone is doing okay. I know I'm feeling extra sleepy these days. So let's kind of see what we need to kind of keep in mind as we go through the energies of this week and what we need to focus on. So, what do we need to know as a collective? We have death reversed. All right, what do we need to do as a collective? The Six of Wands or Six of Inspiration in this deck. All right, what do we need to release as a collective? We have the Apprentice of Swords, or that would be the Page of Swords. And what do we need to contemplate as a collective? Let's see if I can get a different card here. I think I want, where'd you go? Here. The High Priestess for what we need to contemplate. All right. Now, I do want to pull a card from this Ritual Earth Oracle for a little extra message. I haven't been using these cards, and I'm trying to kind of add them in a little bit more into what I'm doing, and trying to see. Try to shuffle them over here off to the side without messing up my area. All right, let's see what do we have. What do we have? We have the Way of Water. We're gonna have to move stuff around. And then I also want to use the Crystal Alchemy Oracle because these cards are gorgeous. And I'm kind of feeling like I also want a couple different Oracle cards for us today. I'm not doing a very good job of shuffling that, so let's kind of do it this way. All right. So here we have Bloodstone. Right. Let's see what we have as a collective. Okay. So very first card with what we need to know is the Death card reversed. Now, to me, the Death card is very much a card of rebirth, transformation, metamorphosis, shifts and changes. Things that we need to kind of release, you know, in order for us to kind of move into the next thing. It's, to me, a representation of a lot of things that maybe are coming to the forefront for us, that maybe we're having this recognition of we can't continue the way that we have been because it's not allowing us to have the opportunity to really develop what is necessary for the next phase. Now, with this being reversed, I feel like maybe we're hanging on to things that aren't really allowing us to move into the opportunity of this next phase of the life cycle, right? So I think that maybe there's some stuff that we're hanging on to. Maybe we're refusing to kind of move with the transformation that's trying to take place. Maybe we're so kind of caught up in our own kind of day-to-day lives that it does make it challenging for us to see what comes next and what this will look like moving forward. So while there may be this sense of like hesitation to kind of move into the next thing because maybe we're like, well, I don't know what that's going to look like, or I'm unfamiliar with that, or it feels uncomfortable, death is something that whether we are ready for it or not, it will come along. And so I think that this week what we need to know is that even if we don't feel prepared for the next phase, or even if we feel like it's a little challenging or a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe we feel like this sense of, I don't know what it's going to look like when I get there, the Death card to me, especially reversed with what we need to know, is that it's maybe letting us know that even if we are not prepared for what comes next, we still have to go through it. Like we're still going to be there. We have to learn to release and let go in order for us to kind of transition into the next thing. So it's a major card. I mean, we do have two majors, major arcana cards this week. So this week may feel very much like there's some intensity going on, some faded kind of energy, where we have to be very aware of what this looks like, not just for us as individuals, but for everybody as a collective. Now, next to what we need to know, what do we need to do? So here we have the Six of Wands, which this is a card of like victory and success. It is really saying like, allow yourself to kind of be celebrated for the things that you have experienced, for the things that you have been going through. It is that recognition that other people are seeing, hey, you have really been going at it. You have really been doing what you need to do. This is an opportunity for you to kind of shine and rise above. Now, wands are fire, right? So they bring this like fast moving sort of energy. They talk about, you know, what drives us? Like, what is that creative sense within us? Where's our sense of passion? What makes us kind of light up? What is inspiring us? It's a very kind of spiritual energy that tends to come with the wands. So this week we may feel like there's like some small wins that we're ready to kind of celebrate, especially with what we need to do is, as much as there's things that like we need to let go of, and maybe we've been resisting the shifts and the changes that are trying to kind of happen, the Six of Wands is kind of saying, all right, but this is our opportunity to really like step into this energy, to allow ourselves to really not just celebrate what comes next, but then also really celebrate everything we already have done and everything and everywhere we have been, basically. Six of Wands to me is also like this energy of choosing and really loving like the things that we have in our life, as well as really going out of our way to look at, you know, what have we surrounded ourselves with? What do we have in our lives that is like worthy of us kind of recognizing and taking the time out to say, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Just little things like that. It doesn't always have to be like a really big celebration, and maybe not everyone will see what you have done or know what you have done. So maybe it's up to us as individuals to kind of take that time out for ourselves and kind of say like, look, I've done a really great job with this. So like, I am ready for what this will look like or what this will feel like, you know, not just for me, but also for, you know, what this will do for the people that are in my life. So there may be some wins this week that need to be celebrated. Maybe it's an opportunity for us to get some of that recognition that we deserve because of our hard work and dedication. And so there's nothing wrong with, even if you feel like there's so many things happening in the world, to take that time out to validate your own important moments, to take some time out to kind of celebrate where you are, what you've overcome, what you've done. I know with everything going on, it can feel a little bit challenging to say like, oh, well, you know, I know the world is burning, but at least I have this. And I think we forget that even in history, whenever there's been these like pivotal moments and moments where there's just like all of this really challenging, difficult, you know, atrocities that are happening, one of the things that tends to keep us going is human hope, right? It's our little thing that, you know, we can even see people that like have experienced a lot of hardship and difficulty, and then it's like they still find a way to have a little bit of hope. And I think like that is something that is a part of human nature. And I think that this week it's almost saying like, where's the spark in your life that allows you to have a little bit more hope? So moving on to card number 3, this is going to be what we need to release. So here we have the Page of Swords. Now the pages to me can bring this kind of energy of really wanting to kind of go out into the world and do something, but not having a lot of experience. And swords can be very much, you know, this air energy, this energy of like the mind, the mental, kind of like overthinking, overanalyzing, the words that we're using, how we connect using our words. And I do believe that we will be having Mercury retrograde here pretty soon, so we may already be in the shadow period. Give me one second. Let me check on that. I'm like, hold on. So yes, Mercury will be stationing retrograde on the 26th at 22 degrees all the way until March 2nd, or sorry, March 20th. So this is going to give us, you know, almost a month of this Mercurian retrograde energy, and it's in Pisces. So there is a lot of this sense. I don't know about you guys, but I've been tired. I've been sleepy. I just kind of feel like I cannot communicate. I feel like I'm talking through soup sometimes is kind of how it feels right now, where even like some of the miscommunications with others, I'm just like, what are you talking about? I don't even understand what you're saying. So I think with what we need to release is the sense of having everything be direct, having everything make a lot of sense, or have everything, you know, be something that is very clear at this moment. I think that's why we have the Page of Swords here, is especially if you're someone that kind of prides yourself in being very clear and being very direct and being able to kind of like cut through any miscommunication or misinformation. The Page of Swords here, I think, is kind of saying like we may not get quite as clear as we want, so we may not always know what's actually going on. And so we have to kind of release this sense of, I need to know what it's going to be like. I need to know what it's going to look like. So I think that there's a little bit of this energy for us to kind of keep in mind, and what we need to kind of release and not be so hard on ourselves about, if that makes sense. So I think that this week will kind of say, we may not know everything that's happening. We may not understand why everything is happening the way that we want. But it's not a time to be, you know, out there and trying to say like, oh, we need to have a lot of truth. This is not a time to fight back in the sense of our sense of empowerment, our sense of justice. This isn't to say you can't do anything with it. I'm just saying that as far as what we need to release is maybe this sense of like, I'm the one that needs to go out there and do it, if that makes sense. I think that this is a reminder of how much more powerful we can be when we, you know, come together. I think that's the big theme with the cards here this week. Now, if we move on to what we need to contemplate, we have the High Priestess, which this card I feel like has been kind of following me around lately. I don't know if you guys kind of pay attention to like what cards you guys have and pull quite often. I feel like this is one that just keeps kind of coming out for me. And I feel like she's deeply connected and associated with the energy of Pisces in the sense of, you know, she's like that dreamy, kind of like boundless, kind of out in the ethers, very intuitive, very like magical and woo and hard to kind of pinpoint and to connect to in some ways, especially if you're someone that is more solid and wants to be more focused on like the day-to-day life and our day-to-day world. So with what we need to contemplate is maybe we need to look at, you know, what lessons are coming up? What do we need? You know, are we trusting ourselves? Are we connecting with our own intuition? Are we looking within at what is ringing true to us right now? Are we paying attention to the subtle kind of energetic thread that's kind of running through everything at the current moment? Are we listening to that little divine inner voice in our lives? And if we haven't, why not? So I think that the High Priestess is here as the card that we need to contemplate, is that maybe we have been so focused on what we need to do, what, you know, how are we going to get there, you know, how's it going to look, versus really giving ourselves a little bit of this like grace to kind of say like, okay, energetically something is going to change, or we're going to kind of see what this is going to look like with what we're trying to do and how this is going to be moving forward. So I think that this week is kind of asking us to not be too action focused, if that makes sense. Maybe it's a time to kind of sit back and be a little bit more connected to the intuitive, more like, woo things in our life that we haven't really been paying attention to. And I feel like that's a big lesson with Pisces season anyways, is that we're kind of given this opportunity to kind of look at, where are we honoring what we've learned in the last year, because the astrological year will begin whenever the sun moves into Aries here in the middle of March. So I feel like with Pisces season and having, we're going to have Mercury retrograde kind of going through all the way until the sun moves into Aries. We're getting this opportunity to kind of review, what are we dreaming? What are we looking at? What are we thinking? How are we communicating? How are we connecting? What sort of things have we been paying attention to within our relationships with technology and our contracts and the things that we're kind of showing up to? We also have, Mercury, which will be retrograde, will be conjunct Venus in Pisces on the 28th, which is next Saturday. And so we're gonna get a little bit of like this Kazemi energy of these two planets kind of coming together. And so we may be reviewing like what it is that we value and how we're showing up, not just in our relationships, but how we communicate in our relationships. And so we're given a little bit of this energy to kind of reflect on what it is that we need to do in order for us to really truly move forward. So I think that these cards are kind of giving us, I don't want to say like a reprieve, but maybe an opportunity to kind of look back within ourselves before we kind of move into the energy of March. And I think that it's a lovely way to kind of reflect on everything we've experienced. Now we did have, the new moon, a solar eclipse in Aquarius on the 17th, so last week. And so many of us are not really seeing some of these shifts and these changes quite so much take effect, but others may be starting to see the initiation of this energy. And I think that this is a week where we're kind of given an opportunity to look at like, well, what's trying to shift? What do we need to kind of let go of in order for us to really be happy and to celebrate the life that we have, to get a little bit more clear on, where we're kind of taking this energy so that we can really truly learn to trust our own intuition as we kind of move into this next phase. All right. Now it's interesting because again, I don't really use this deck. This is the Ritual Earth Oracle. And if you want to see a deck unboxing of this deck, it's in my playlist, deck unboxings. Now, the Way of Water, which is all about compassion, goodwill, merit, and fortune. This card reminds me so much of the Hierophant card that I have inside of my Magpie or Aliman Tarot style deck. And so I think that this is kind of showing us like, hey, this is not a time for us to try to be like just charge ahead, like not pay attention to like the details, to, be too forceful with things. It's the way of water, right? It's very much about just kind of flowing and just finding a way versus like making a way and being forceful. Now, a lot of water obviously can be very forceful. I'm not saying that it's not. Water can be a very powerful force. And I really appreciate understanding and knowing how water can be. But the one thing I will say is that I think that this is kind of asking us to look at, how are we flowing right now? Are we moving into this energy and allowing it to be something that we can take advantage of and utilize for ourselves, or have we been trying to force it to? So I think that this week we'll have some lessons that allow us to be a little bit more compassionate, to really look at, what are we doing with this energy? Are we taking advantage of it? Are we watering the right things in our lives? And are we taking care of ourselves in the process? Now, finally, we have the Bloodstone card, and this is all about the root chakra. So detoxify, blood health, and purging. Now, bloodstone is one of these crystals that I think is fantastic for allowing us to feel a little bit more rooted and grounded. Bloodstone has a history of being used to kind of detoxify, and help kind of re-energize ourselves, because we have a lot of blood inside of us, right? And so I think bloodstone has this quality to be able to like remove whatever is no longer beneficial or necessary for us. And when I think of the root or the base chakra, I think that it's kind of allowing us to see, you know, are we stabilizing ourselves? Are we grounded in the life that we have? And if not, maybe it's time to, you know, do a little spring cleaning, so to speak. I know, like, for me, that's something I was considering today. Today's like my only day off this week, but it's okay because I'm like, I really need to get it together. I really need to like organize my space. It's looking chaotic up in here. And so I think it's kind of this urge of like, I need to get rid of stuff. I need to purge. I need to kind of go through and remove anything that is excessive, anything that isn't, you know, actually beneficial and helpful for me for this next phase or for this next, you know, arena of my life, so to speak. So I think that we may have some considerations to make this week where we have to, you know, look at what do we have in excess that is no longer beneficial for us? What sort of things have we been hanging on to that maybe aren't really bringing value in our lives? And I feel like that's going to be very much this energy of Venus in Pisces. It's going to be trining Jupiter in Cancer. So we're looking at, you know, our values. We're looking at, you know, the things that we have in our space, what we have, what we need. We're looking at Jupiter, you know, kind of like where is our sense of luck and expansion and what we believe in. And so I think a lot of us are kind of looking at what we have, what we're doing with it, what that means for us as a whole. I think it's very much a beautiful kind of energy to kind of tune into. And I think that we're kind of given an opportunity to kind of prepare for what it is that we actually want to take with us as we're kind of moving through this energy. So I think that's kind of the overall gist for this week. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys watching the videos that I post. Let me know if there's anything that you're interested in me doing, and I will try my best to try to find a way to share that. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.